Hello, beautiful acupuncturists. I am Dr. Charlene Lawrence. I am a fellow acupuncturist, a certified hypnotherapist, and I am the founder of the Hypnopuncture Method, where I help acupuncturists like you add hypnotherapy to your already amazing acupuncture treatments to take your patients even further along their wellness journey. And today I want to talk a little bit about mindset, specifically when it comes to certain words that we not only think, but also say. Before we say anything, we think it. And so our thoughts and our words are so powerful. Now, this mindset information that I'm going to share with you today can be used for yourself. It can be something you share with your loved ones, and it can be something that you share with your patients. And I find myself doing this with my patients very often. First, we're going to touch on the fact that the unconscious mind is incapable of processing a not. So can't, won't, don't, shouldn't, all of these not conjunctions where the word not is in there, the unconscious mind just is incapable of processing it. And I want you to think of this example. So if I tell you not to imagine an elephant, to not imagine the elephant, you have to imagine the elephant, right? So that's where these thoughts, if we're thinking, well, I don't want to do something, that's what you're going to focus on. And so I hear it in my clinic from my patients all the time, especially when it's their first visit or very early in their treatment plan. They might be talking about things I often ask, well, how do you want to feel? Well, I just don't want to feel tired, or I don't want to feel sick, or I don't want to be in pain. That's what their mind is focusing on because their unconscious mind is not processing the not. So if they're saying, I don't want to be tired, their unconscious mind actually picks up, I want to be tired, and gives them more tired. So allow your patients to make this little shift. And so when I hear this from a patient, I say, how do you want to feel? And they say, well, I don't want to be tired. I say, great. If you don't want to be tired, what do you want instead? And that might lead them to think that, oh, I want more energy. Awesome. We can work with that. And so where our focus goes, our energy flows. This is a phrase, I usually have to think about it because of all the rhyming, but this is a phrase that I share with my patients all the time. And I explain to them, I want them to share with me how they want to feel in a very specific manner, because what they focus on is going to grow. Where they put their focus, their energy is going to flow. So if they don't want to feel tired, again, the unconscious mind is incapable of processing that not. So they're going to focus on being tired. So if I'm able to get them to frame it in the positive, just like I showed you, that they, instead of being tired, want to be energized, or they want to be full of energy, whatever their language is, then I can say, great. Now, every time you think about, I don't want to feel tired, catch yourself, flip that script, and start saying, I want to be full of energy. Where you focus your thoughts, your energy is going to flow. And then we have a couple of simple word choices here. I want you to start incorporating this into your own language and encourage your patients to do so as well. One of the biggest things that I find empowering is to switch the word but to and. But actually negates everything prior to the sentence or in the previous part of the sentence, and is inclusive of everything being stated. I don't know if you've ever experienced before, perhaps you've watched it on a movie, And the character on the movie says, I love you, but I just can't be with you. That but actually negates the I love you. And it's really just, I can't be with you, or whatever the excuse may be. But is actually initiating an excuse. So, what if you have a patient who you're trying to get them to change their diet? You know that, let's say it's really cut and dry. They have celiac disease. We know how amazing acupuncture is at treating digestive disharmony. And at the same time, a patient with celiac absolutely 100% has to eliminate gluten from their diet, correct? This is not like, oh, it's a fad or anything like that. We know for sure that this person needs to eliminate gluten. And they're like, doc, I know that I have celiac. I know I need to eliminate gluten, but I love bread so much. Tell them to flip the script and in place of but, use and. I know I have celiac. I know I need to eliminate gluten, and I really love bread. That's actually empowering. Both things are true. Yes, they need to eliminate gluten, and yes, they may still really love bread. And there are solutions around this, right? You can eat gluten-free bread. You can make gluten-free bread and still enjoy bread. It may not be exactly the same as it was in the past with all the gluten, and it's still going to be delicious. I want you to also think of replacing those not words, can't, don't, won't, shouldn't, with the word avoid. So anytime I am working to reframe something from the negative into the positive, here's what I run into sometimes. If I'm struggling with, I just don't want to be tired, and I can't think of how that's going to go in the positive, or it's hard to frame, what the flip side of being tired would be into a positive, basically, then I start the phrase with, I want to avoid being tired. Avoid is not a negative. It's just something you're going to go around. You're going to take a different route to get there. So the word avoid, saying I want to avoid, and then whatever it is you're trying to avoid, is actually a very simple way to redirect your language, whether that's in my thoughts, my words. And I say this with patients all the time. I might say, I want to avoid you missing your appointment. I want to avoid screwing up your treatment plan, whatever that is. And just that allows them to not only stay on the right journey, you're still going toward something that you want rather than away from something that you don't want. That's a toward motivation or away motivation, something I teach way more in depth in my workshops. And if we're going towards something, it gives us a direction. Even if we want to avoid, I'm driving down, I'll use the freeways in LA. I want to avoid taking the 405 at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So that just opens up all of these other possibilities of all of these other routes to get to the destination that I want to go to. I have two more things to recommend, and I'm going to throw a little hitch in this one because I've been saying, let's avoid using these not words, these negative words, with one exception. Here's something that I do with my patients all the time when I'm helping them adjust to new lifestyle changes. Rather than thinking or saying, I can't, I want them to use I don't. And here's an example. I can't eat gluten. I can't eat the bread. It's pretty disempowering. It's like somebody told me I'm a 5-year-old kid again, and my mom said I can't touch the hot stove. If I switch that to I don't eat bread or I don't drink alcohol, that's a personal choice. So even though the unconscious mind isn't necessarily hearing not the negative, it's at least processing the information from a choice, from an empowering standpoint. And it's not a disempowering situation that some person, you as the practitioner, told your patient they can't do this anymore. No, they are making the empowering choice to no longer do that or to avoid doing that. The last bit that I want to leave you with today, because I know I've taken plenty of your time, is the word just. This is a simple word that can kind of minimize things sometimes. And I know oftentimes we want to maybe come across in a way where we're minimizing something for our patient, and it doesn't land well inside the unconscious mind. So if you're reaching out to a patient, let's say you're doing your emails or calls, however you do it. I call it my dropout list, people that I haven't seen in a while. I reach out to them periodically to say, hey, we haven't seen you. We'd love to have you back in the clinic. How are you doing? All of the things. I used to be so intimidated, and I would only send an email and I would say, hey, I'm just checking in because I'm too scared and embarrassed that I haven't seen you in a long time. And this is a very diminishing way to start the conversation because I used the word just. So what I want you to do is just leave it out. Just leave it out. Simple as that. And I want you to really be strong. And so if you're thinking and you're going to say something out loud, or you're communicating via email or text with a patient and you're going to slip that word just in there, rewrite it, take it out. The sentence still works just fine. Hey, I'm checking in. I haven't seen you in the clinic in a while. I want to see how you're doing. I hope you're doing great. That is the same sentence, basically, minus one word, and it's not minimizing everything. The unconscious mind isn't thinking a couple of things. It could be thinking, oh, I'm not important enough that she's just reaching out. Or it could come across energetically, which is something that we all understand very well, right? All that energy is still flowing on those electrons through our email servers that I'm not very confident in what I'm asking or saying to you. And so they're going to feel it. I hope this was helpful information for you. I love that you guys are checking in, and please respond back if you have any questions, and I will see you next week.